everybody. This is going to be a pretty brief video, but I found out earlier today that a lovely woman that I knew in the Los Angeles area passed away. She was found yesterday, probably crossed over on Thursday, they're not sure yet, and her name was Eddye. And although I hadn't talked to her a lot the past couple of years because people's lives go in different directions, she was a wonderful person, very, even if things weren't going fabulous, she had this wonderful energy about her, this fabulous laugh, and did important things in her 74 years on this planet. Her passing unexpectedly is hitting a little harder simply because she wasn't that old, and she only retired, I think she retired maybe 3 years ago, somewhere in that range. So she had to work late, often doing jobs that were not, what she really wanted to be doing, which is common for a lot of people. And it's upsetting that she couldn't enjoy more years in retirement, enjoying her life. Which it reminds me of, I had my financial guy in Albuquerque years ago passed away unexpectedly 1 week before he was due to retire after working hard his entire life. So the main message of this video is please do not wait to do things that you want to do. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. I'm not guaranteed a minute from now. I mean, no one is. And, I know lovely souls that I just blogged about a day or two ago who passed way too young. But what I want to also mention about Eddye is that she was a perfect example of how sometimes what you get paid to do, is not your real work. And yes, we've all got to pay mortgages and rent and feed ourselves and all that kind of thing. So she did what she had to do. But she supported those of us who were born with certain gifts that don't get the credit enough for what they do to support people with gifts, other woo-woo gifts. And Eddye and I, we have a mutual friend named Carolyn who is a very gifted trance medium and channel. And I know for a long time, Eddye would hold space for Carolyn so that Carolyn could go into trance and do her important channeling work. Eddye did the protection for Carolyn. She held space. She would ask Carolyn's guides questions. Similar to how I'm gonna blank now. Jane Roberts. Similar to how Jane Roberts, who channeled Seth, had her husband Robert. I think his name was Robert. I'm forgetting names. I'm sorry. This is on a whim. But Jane Roberts' husband would do the work that basically Eddye did for Carolyn for a lot of years. And Edgar Casey had his wife who would hold space and ask questions while he was in trance. So Eddye did that very important work that she didn't get paid for, but it was really important and made a difference. I was thinking about her on my balcony a little while ago, and a hummingbird suddenly came in from nowhere. And normally when the hummingbirds come, they stay kind of on the outside of my balcony because I do have a hummingbird feeder. But this hummingbird came in the inside, looked at me, took a drink, and left. And I do think Eddye sent it. Hummingbirds they're very powerful spirit messengers for me and a lot of other people. And then I put these Buddhist bracelets on like this today because Eddye used to wear Buddhist bracelets like this. She loved bracelets in general, but she would wear a lot of Buddhist bracelets wrapped around her arm, like usually on one arm, and then oftentimes specific, amethyst, quartz, other powerful crystals and stuff on her other arm. She always wore a lot of bracelets. I got a little bit of that from her. But a cool story that I can tell you is I first met Eddye when we were both working at a .com in the late 90s, I'm going to say. I think it was 99. So 99 to 2000, somewhere in that range, is when I first met and worked with Eddye. And then we worked together, and then in early 2001, we worked together briefly at a different company too. But I had been going through really extreme depression. One of my worst bouts I've ever had. It was awful, and it had gone on for months, and I couldn't pull myself out of it. And, so I'm working one day, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I go into the ladies' room, and one of our coworkers was in there having a very severe nosebleed. I mean, it was the worst nosebleed I have ever seen. And so she's leaning against a wall because, to be honest, she was getting lightheaded, I think, with, stuff shoved up her nose and, on her face. And I asked her if I go, instinctively I said, would you be open to me doing some healing work on you? And at that point, she was willing to do anything. So she's like, yes, please, do whatever you can. So I started doing some energy work on her to try to help stop the bleeding. And I will admit, I kept remembering that there was like this dark energy, something. There was dark being of some sort attached to her. At that point, I didn't know much about attachments, and I never believed until I witnessed some things in possession per se. But she had something that was attacking her. So I'm on there trying to pull this thing off, and all of a sudden, something zoomed out of this woman, slammed into me, and literally threw me across the floor. I ended up a lot of feet away with like the wind knocked out of me, going whoa, and at that moment, Eddye just happened. There's no accidents. Eddye, she happened to come into the bathroom. She saw me on the floor, this woman bleeding, and I kind of like told her what's going on. And she's like, okay, let me take over. So Eddye started doing really powerful healing work on this lady too, and was able to get it under control finally. So then I stumbled out to my desk, and I was really dizzy, and I just felt totally discombobulated. But all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, something's different. And the depression was gone. It was just gone. Like this dark, horrible cloud that had been over me for months was blown out. So, the only thing that I can attribute that to is, obviously when something, jolted from her to me and then out, it just kind of blew open something and, blew out the darkness, so to speak. But, which is kind of weird because there was a dark energy attached to her, so it's possible that some other light being came in, blew that out, blew that through me, and then I got the remnants of the good light being. I don't know. But I remember Eddye and I, we talked about it a little bit later, and I'm like, my depression's gone. This is so weird. It's like, and the lesson in that story is, the best way to get at, if you're depressed, if you're suffering from a lot of sadness, when you give to others, you help yourself. So, the main lesson in that was because I tried to help this lady, it helped me, and I wasn't intending that. It just happened. So that was a good lesson in that. But I am hoping that, Eddye was very into the healing arts. She studied Reiki and all that kind of thing. It bothers me that she passed away alone. But I do hope that once she gets acclimated to over there, that she does come to her best friend, Carolyn, to say hello. And, I am letting Eddye know that if she wants to work through either one of us, I'm sure Carolyn would agree. She's more than welcome. We'd love to hear from her. But, she did, I'm pretty sure that was her a few minutes ago. So we'll see what happens, but don't put off your life, which reminds me I need to figure out a way to be able to retire sooner than when I'm 70, because I have other stuff I want to do. And even people who are the supporters of others, where they're kind of in the background, are really important. Nobody's life is not to be seen as important and valued, and we all have our little spiritual things we come here to do, and you can't judge one person's work over another's. And I'm rambling. Now I'm rambling. I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. But take care of yourselves, and that's it for today. And we love you, Eddye.